Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we're going to be doing the fourth part of What If Deku at the start leveling Quirk. Part 5 of this What If is probably going to be uploaded on one of the weekdays next week. There's nothing much else I want to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Ibarra, the girl with the vines Quirk, launches several of her vines towards Deku's group. Deku uses his electrical manipulation trait and simply grabs onto one of the vines. This sends electrical shocks down the vines to her head, shocking her. He lets go and shouts, "Go!" once more vines start to zoom at them. Luckily, they make it out just in time and move on to other opponents, keeping all of their headbands. Deku then deduces a plan of going on the offensive against Bakugo's team. They seem to still have their headband, and Deku is keen on getting the million-point headband. With Mei's useful tech, they blast into the air and Deku retrieves his maul. He almost puts it back due to the brutality of his attacks, but he wants to get at least one win in this festival. He swings it in his hand once and the crowd starts to tense up. They never expected Deku to have such various powers. Also, the many contestants in their cavalry groups become more cautious as they approach and cross paths with Deku and his team. They can vividly piece together what his deadly maul can do to a person, and so does Bakugo. However, Bakugo isn't one to think with calmness and collectedness. He aims his finger at Deku and shouts, "Get him!" Kirishima almost instantly declines from this outrageous order but says, "Are you sure we should be doing that?" Trying to reason with Bakugo, as expected, Bakugo doesn't take a single thing in. He doesn't even take his eyes off Deku to look at Kirishima and says, "Go!" Kirishima shakes his head while looking down and begins his approach to Deku. He makes sure to harden his body because those maul strikes can be lethal. Bakugo raises both arms and releases a mass of deadly, violent explosions. Deku sees this coming and instinctively puts the head of his maul ahead of him to block some of the impact. His team all feel troubled by the incoming team. With his intellect, Deku comes to a conclusion. He continuously scans the surrounding area and concludes what they should do. We need to keep a good distance from him and pierce inwards once he is vulnerable. Dark Shadow is weakening also. Fumikage says, "Agreed." While sidestepping past an incoming explosion, their situation is tightening and getting much harsher. Bakugo doesn't stop his restless pouncing and explosions. This keeps Deku and his team on their toes. Once the team get one slight open chance, Deku shouts, "Now!" Mei uses her trusty tech and they blast right into the air. Bakugo starts shooting up his explosions in fury and shouts, "Coward!" Once they land, they make sure to keep a good distance from Bakugo. They approach Team Tetsu and Deku bends down, preparing to reach in. His right hand cloaks in harsh electricity from his Ironside Fist skill. This does weaken Fumikage, but he just hides on the other side of the guy's body. He reaches out and in one swift motion he snatches two of their collected headbands, placing them on his own head. As time starts to dwindle, their need for Bakugo's valuable headband increases. "We need to get that headband," Deku declares. Fumikage says yes, but he's a good distance away and his million-point headband is at the bottom of 4. Deku doesn't even take the sulking into account and says, "It doesn't matter, we win regardless." He grips tightly onto his maul and his team knows what's about to come. Uraraka, "You touch Kirishima," and Fumikage goes under and from behind the team. He pushes him forward and I launch him into the air with my maul strike. This will ruin their team and as they begin to fall apart, I reach in and take the headbands. After this, "Mei, get us right out of there because it will be a hot zone." His friends prepare for the incoming attack and Uraraka nods. They all are ready to take the headband and come out victorious in the Cavalry Battle. They run towards the left and start their attack. Uraraka reaches out and touches Kirishima correctly. Deku dodges an explosion from Bakugo, then Dark Shadow leaps off the group, going under and through the team to push Kirishima. Deku then begins using his Norse power technique and strikes Kirishima right into the air. This sends him flipping and flying, being unable to control his movement. Everything they just strategized has gone perfectly. All that is left now is to get that headband. Bakugo starts sliding forward as their front pieces disappear. The group also starts to fall apart, but as this happens, Deku uses this chance and rushes in. He rips all 4 of their dear headbands, making his total score in the millions. "Now!" Deku shouts to Mei in fear of losing these headbands. Bakugo is quick and doesn't take any time to think and just reaches out for his headband again. They launch themselves into the air and have secured their headbands. They have 6 total headbands due to not just raw power but technique and coordination. Once they land, they all know their tactic must switch to the ultra defensive. Don't attack anyone, just prepare for anybody coming in. Dark Shadow makes it back to them and they all walk around slow but firm. Team Tetsu approaches them, but then Deku throws his maul with the last of his strength, knocking into the Vine Girl. She becomes quite lightheaded and stumbles to the side. Deku's team then runs towards them for some reason, however this is just to get Deku's axe. As they do this, every team in the stands locks eyes with them. Fear fills their bodies, but their strive for victory cancels this out. They know if they freeze now, they lose. All members of the team wait for Deku's smart instructions. Run towards that open gap in the teams and blast up as high as you possibly can. Mei nods and they begin running towards that gap. It does close as they approach it, but Deku easily predicted this. Up! They blast up, and while mid-air the battle concludes, they land gracefully with a mass of headbands. Quest complete, Cavalry Battle, plus 3 stat points, plus 1 skill. Choose a skill, Barbarian Fortification. The body's stamina and durability significantly increases to allow for more restless attacks. This lasts for 20 seconds and strength decreases for a minute after use. Plus 7 stamina, plus 8 durability, minus 5 strength after 1 minute. Might of Thor, the body's physical stats increase by 50% for 25 seconds. Electricity flows through the blood and body to enhance the bodily functions. This includes muscular contraction and reflexes. Also, the ability to wield hammer-type weapons increases by 30%. Plus 12 strength, plus 11 speed, plus 8 durability, plus 12 stamina. The second skill brightly glows in a rich gold, and it's gold for a reason. It's an absolutely amazing skill. Without hesitation, he chooses the skill and prepares for the next stage of the UA Sports Festival. I get so much stronger with this skill. Is it like a legendary skill? It's so unbelievably powerful. I hope to get more of these in the future. He checks his new stats and is quite impressed. Even through the shining colour and astounding stat boost of the skill, he finds a clear deficiency. The durability boost is so minute. If I place all of my stat boosts into durability, it should get better. As he theorized, he goes through with this and places all of his stat points directly into stamina. This then makes the stat boost of Might of Thor increase from 8 to 10. As he snaps back into reality, he is somewhat surrounded by enthusiastic and loud roars. The crowd stand from their seats and clap restlessly, showing utmost respect towards Deku and his team. He can't help but smile from the cheering for him. The team are given a noon break and Deku takes his time to get some good rest. His Norse power stamina drain eventually dwindles, returning him to his ordinary stamina levels and making him feel much more eager to perform. Soon after the break, the first match of the tournament begins between Deku and Itoshi. Ojiro still advises Deku to not reply to him, and he takes these words seriously. He cannot afford to lose now. Once he steps onto the ring and after analysing the figure of his opponent, he deduces that there's no need to use his new and shiny skill. It doesn't seem to be worth it. New quest, nice opener, win the first fight of the tournament of the UA Sports Festival. Quest rewards, plus 100 XP, plus 1 stat point. Do you think you can win without those friends of yours? Hitoshi says to try and irritate his opponent. Deku doesn't take anything he says into account. Some random fighter isn't going to defeat him with words alone. Without a single reply, he retrieves this deadly maul. Hitoshi starts to stumble over himself once he realizes his ploy isn't working. His quirk is good, but it doesn't work if he actually has to fight. I should be able to win this soon enough, but I should also be ready for anything. Deku says, trying to stay humble and prepared for anything that may come his way. Don't get any wrong ideas, I have an ultimate trump card, Itoshi claims, clearly bluffing. Deku sees directly through his bluff and simply charges at it. He flips his heavy maul into an overhead position and strikes down as hard as he can. Itoshi blocks such attack and his arm fractures from the hit. His blood-curdling scream makes the crowd think twice about the hammer-wielding fighter. Deku pulls back his maul immediately and feels extremely guilty for what he's done. In reaction, he throws his maul right back into his inventory and fights with just his fists and legs. Using some minor electrical enhancement, he throws a swift two-piece to knock him off his game. Just these 2 attacks alone give him a nosebleed, and right after this, Deku bops down and approaches him in a swift motion. This is because he perfectly predicts a desperate swing from Itoshi's end. This leaves Itoshi open for several attacks that Deku can use. He almost can't choose from the variety. He settles for a strong right hook followed by a strong and precise jab to his head. With this gained momentum, he finishes off his skillful combo with a perfect cross to the jaw. The force cracks his jaw and knocks him out, causing him to flop onto the arena floor. Deku retracts his outreached arm and is declared the winner of the match. However, there are very mixed emotions towards the winner. Some say he has great skill and is just too strong, while others insist that he is brutal and an evil fighter. It certainly makes him think over the skills he's achieved, but he quickly destroys such negative thoughts towards himself after realising the amount of effort he has put into this. Some people literally have quirks that burn people, so just hitting them hard shouldn't be that bad. His power's brutality is just more pronounced by breaking bones and screams. The rest of the matches go pretty much the same since minor changes have been made to others. The only thing I can really say that has changed is Tenya is likely to be slightly more confident after being voted president. New quest, Son of Endeavour. Win the semi-finals of the UA tournament. Quest rewards, plus 220 XP, 3 stat points, plus 1 skill upgrade. He checks his stats to reassure himself and then quickly removes them. He knows he's gonna have to pull out all of his cards to face him. Alright, should I start with Ter's Fury? Probably. It will give me enough thrill and power to break through the ice. Todoroki prepares himself and the match eventually begins. Deku uses his Ter's Fury and he doesn't think twice about rushing straight into battle. Todoroki pulls up a wall of thick and dense ice, however he leaps over an approaching spike, landing within the ice. Surrounding him is a complex architecture that would likely be tough to work around. However, Deku's increased strength makes his movements even more efficient. He swings off of a spike and leaps off of an adjacent ice wall, sliding down towards Todoroki. As the gap between them closes and closes, Todoroki reaches out again for another wall of ice. However, Deku slips to the side in a peekaboo boxing stance, reaching out for a quick jab then closing in for a powerful right hook. He kicks Todoroki back in his chest and swings down to slam him to the floor. However, he just hits a thick wall of ice. It barely cracks and Todoroki just about manages to escape from the situation. They continue going back and forth and Todoroki seems to be sustaining more injuries. After Ter's fury fades, Todoroki starts to gain the advantage from his impressive defense, but his offense is non-existent. His punches and kicks are so slow, and if he tries to use his ice to increase his speed, Deku can predict and counter. Deku takes his chance and begins going harder. He retrieves his more from the inventory and holds it tight. He begins to use static charge and he also adds on another skill he shouldn't be adding on. However, he wants to finish this as quickly as he can. His muscles contract and enlarge and his body also begins to steam. He calmly exhales to try and get his mind back on things after experiencing such immense stamina drain. Even through the tough drain, he knows he can't stand still for long. This makes him advance towards Todoroki faster. He ducks down slightly and swings up powerfully. He destroys a block of ice and knocks Todoroki right off his feet. He kicks Todoroki back and swings on his arms. This heavily strains one of his arms, but he doesn't actually fracture it. Todoroki knows he can lose if he doesn't get back up, so in one explosive movement he returns to his feet. This movement is a grave mistake, leaving him completely open for a deadly strike from Deku. Before he can even defend, he is hit with another maul strike, knocking him to the ground. He coughs blood onto the arena and can barely think straight through the pain. He moves his jaw around and feels pain with every movement. Deku strikes him right in his back and knocks him to the ground once again. Todoroki's muscles slow down from his overuse of ice and the injuries slow him down even more. Deku pulls back and he has just a few seconds of his skill left. Just enough time for one finishing strike. He pulls back and prepares for his final attack, but he notices a little flow in Todoroki's red hair. His left fist clenches and Deku just raises a brow, but all he needs is a second to know what is about to come. Out of nowhere, Todoroki releases a massive wave of raging fire. The crowd are astonished by the sight. Deku goes flying away within the flames and his clothes char away. You have been inflicted with severe burning damage, minus 35 HP. Todoroki stands and further adds to the furious flames. Once he stops, he believes that he has won. He lazily drops his arms and turns. It is a plausible solution that Deku was lost since there's no movement. Unfortunately for Todoroki, this isn't the truth. Might of Thor activated. Through the ablaze ring, Deku leaps through the fire with a completely charred off shirt. Todoroki turns back and is truly taken aback. Deku dives down and floors Todoroki with one slam. The slam is powerful and bone snapping. His left arm snaps and Deku gut punches him. To finish off, he weakly shoves Todoroki back to gain some needed range. In one swift movement, he lands a deadly strike to his jaw, knocking him out. The flames soon blow out and only Deku is revealed, barely standing over his strong opponent. His legs tremble under his own weight. Deku is declared the winner and is amazed. He definitely is very thankful for his new skill, but he thinks that this isn't the hardest fight he'll have this tournament. His arch rival is likely to be in the finals. This person is Bakugo. Quest complete, Son of Endeavor, plus 220 XP, plus 3 stat points, plus 1 skill upgrade. Level up, plus 1 to all physical stats. So it gives me plus 1 to everything now? That's pretty good, he realises. With the new stat points, he places 2 into strength and then 2 into stamina. This brings his strength up to 27 and also his stamina up to 27. Choose a skill upgrade. Ter's Fury to Ter's Wrath. The user becomes even more angry to the point where it is hard to control the lust for violence. The user's strength, speed and durability drastically increase for 25 seconds, plus 5 strength, plus 5 speed, plus 5 durability. Norse Power to Norse Brute. The user's strength significantly increases for 20 seconds, but their stamina decreases by minus 9 for 5 minutes after use. Also, the user's durability decreases by minus 4. Plus 7 strength to minus 9 stamina after 5 minutes. Strike of Thor to Mjolnir Strike. The user's strength and speed in the arms drastically increases for 3 seconds. The toughness of the Hammer of Might also increases by 35%. Both of these allow for a deadly strike. Plus 3 strength, plus 3 speed, plus 35% the Hammer of Might toughness. So that will conclude the 4th part of What If Deku or the stat level and quirk. I really enjoyed making this one and I really enjoy how this What If is going. Just as a reminder, the next What If that I'll be doing is likely going to be fan suggested. I'm looking into what if Shin trained Broly and other things that people have been saying. If you give me a what if idea, it could be made into a set of videos. If you guys want to see further parts of this what if, then please subscribe and turn on post notifications. Please make sure to comment anything that you think that I could improve on for the next part so I can make this what if as great as possible. Thanks so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.